With grocery prices on the rise, it can be super hard to stay on budget. So today I have prepared some tasty Poorman meals. I have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and even a dessert in this video. I think you all are going to love it. Let's get started. To start us off, I'm going to be making some eggs and potatoes. So to my cutting board, I need 6 potatoes that I'm just going to dice up. I'm going to put them in my frying pan, and then I'm going to use a couple tablespoons of olive oil. You guys can use bacon grease or whatever you guys prefer. I have some olive oil that I'm just going to fry all these potatoes in. Of course, I like to flavor my potatoes with some paprika, some pepper, and some salt. I also did some seasoned salt just to add a little bit more of a salt flavor. I love the seasoning salt, like the flavor that it gives just besides the salt. I think it's super delicious on potatoes. I'm going to put a lid on and let that cook, and while that is cooking, I'm going to get started on some eggs. So I'm going to beat up quite a bit of eggs. I have about a dozen eggs I'm going to beat up, and usually I like to add some type of milk or dairy product to it, but I didn't this time. I'm just going to add some salt and pepper to it to give it a little bit of flavoring. I love to add the milk, any type of dairy product, just because it gives it this rich and bold flavor that I absolutely love. So I'm going to give this a good stir. And then also I'm going to add in an onion. You guys can add in onions or peppers. That's going to give your breakfast here so much flavor. So I'm going to add in my onions, and then I'm going to let that cook for about another 5 minutes. I just want to make sure that those onions are nice and soft. Now that my potatoes are done cooking, I'm going to put it into this bowl, and I end up making a huge mess. I'm not sure what I'm thinking, but anyways, I clean up my mess, and now I'm going to heat up about a tablespoon of butter on my skillet, and then once it's done melting, I'm going to add my eggs. I'm going to give this a good stir. I like to keep this on like a medium to low heat and let it cook kind of slow. I like to do it like that just because they end up being super fluffy. I always want to take this off the heat after you kind of see that it's getting kind of glossy. I don't not like my eggs overcooked whatsoever. Now I'm plating my bowl. I'm going to plate it with that onion and potato mixture, and then just add in a little bit of eggs. You can top this with whatever you want. We did just like a little bit of cheese on the top, and we have a delicious, hearty, and budget-friendly breakfast for today. My kids absolutely love this, and it's even better when you put some type of meat in it, but today we just did potatoes and eggs. Up next are these corn muffins. These are super fun to do with your kids. My kids absolutely love them. You're going to need 2 packages of Jiffy Mix, and you're just going to cook them up and mix them up just how the box says to do. So I need 2 eggs and 2/3 a cup of milk. Giving that a really good stir. And then I just had these hot dogs on hand, and I just quartered them. You guys can definitely dice them up even finer into smaller pieces. It's kind of however you want to do it. I was thinking in my head that I would just do one kind of bigger hot dog in each little muffin container. But if I were to do this again, I think I would definitely cut these up into smaller pieces and kind of just throw like a bunch of little pieces in with my corn muffin mix. And then I put like a little bit of muffin mix on top. These kind of overfilled and, you know, they kind of overflowed a little bit. So, but they turned out just fine. And then I baked these at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes. And this is what it looks like after they were all done. This was a super easy and family-friendly meal to do with your kids. My kids ate, me and my husband ate. We had a delicious and quick and easy lunch, and I just spread it with some mac and cheese to be super simple. And then for dinner, we did this ramen carbonara or carbonara. I'm not actually sure how you pronounce it, but to my medium skillet, I'm going to go ahead and fry up some bacon. I did 4 slices of bacon. You can do 6. It's kind of whatever you want to do. 4 to 6 is about the right amount. I did 4 packages of ramen noodles. I'm just putting in this large pot of, it was at one point boiling water. And then you just want to cook that until it's al dente, which really does not take very long at all. Okay, and then once it's done cooking, I'm just going to strain it, and I'm just going to leave it in the sink until like my bacon and everything over here is done cooking. I'm going to add a tablespoon of garlic. I just want to get a really good flavor. Always with Poorman meals or budget meals, I want to add as much seasoning and flavorings as I possibly can because I'm not using a ton of ingredients. Garlic is going to give you a very good flavor. Okay, now that my bacon and garlic is done cooking, I'm going to somehow stir all that ramen together. And then I have 3 eggs that I went ahead and beat up. I'm adding in 1/4 cup of Parmesan and whatever I have kind of in my fridge. So I had a little bit of Parmesan, and then I added a little bit, about 1/4 cup of mozzarella cheese. I think that about 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese is what you're going to be looking for. I just only had a little bit left, so I used what I had left. And then I need about a tablespoon of parsley. I think the parsley just adds a good little color to your meal. It also adds some really great flavorings as well. I'm going to try to get that well combined, and I want that egg to cook just a little bit, but you don't want it to get scrambled. And then if you're using a little bit less ramen noodles, then you only have to do about 2 eggs. Kind of depends on how much ramen you're using. And this is what it looks like after it's done. It is so cheesy. I love the bacon. The flavoring is absolutely phenomenal because you have all that bacon grease in with your ramen noodles. So, so good. The last thing I'm going to do is be making this rice pudding, which is actually something I've never made before. So this is kind of a really like something new for me. I need 5.5 cups of milk, and I'm going to put my stove on a very like medium to low heat. Right now it's right at medium. And then I need 1/2 cup of sugar and then 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to give this a good mixeroo, but you guys, this is going to cook for like an hour. It said an hour. For me, it was like way over an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And then once my milk it has come to a boil, I'm going to add in 1/2 cup of rice. And I'm basically just going to babysit it for about an hour, turn it down to a very low heat, and just let it thicken up and let it do its thing. It took forever for this, but it eventually got to where I want. I did kind of scorch the bottom at one point in time, so that's why you kind of see those little bits, but it's definitely a lot more thicker now. And so I'm going to let that sit for probably another 20 minutes. And then I'm just going to put it in my Tupperware because I need to put this in the fridge. But I totally forgot about the cinnamon and vanilla. So I'm adding a little bit of cinnamon, about a teaspoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of vanilla. Giving that a really good stir. And then I'm just going to put the lid on, and I'm going to put this in the fridge. And I let this stay in the fridge overnight. And then I'm going to take it out in the morning and show you guys what it looks like. Okay, so now I'm going to take it out of my Tupperware, and it's super thick. So, because it's super thick, I'm going to add a half a cup of milk to it once I get it all into the bowl. Okay, and then I'm just going to stir that together, getting that milk incorporated, and you could probably add in a little bit more milk than what I added. I think probably 3/4 a cup would be a very good amount because this was still a little bit on the thick side, but I mean, pudding is supposed to be kind of thick, and it's definitely reminding me of like tapioca pudding for sure. And then I wanted to see if my kids would like it because I've never made anything like this before. What do you think?
Not so good.
Okay. You wanna try it? Yeah.
It's good.
You like it? Okay.
No, I'm gonna don't like.
Addie.
That's really good. It's really good.
Jojo really likes it. You don't care for it?
No. I don't like pudding. I really like desserts.
Okay. You want to have it then?
Yeah.
Okay, you can have it.
I have tons of other videos just like this on my channel, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss my next video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, y'all.